Emily Kate Made This. I am Emily Kate and I'm coming to you from Berlin in Germany. Welcome to my knitting, sewing, general crafty life podcast, vlogcast, YouTube channel, whatever you want to call it. Welcome back to any returning viewers and hello to anybody new. This podcast has 0 finished objects, but I did warn you about that last time. This time I have 4 works in progress, so let's get to them. First of all, what I'm wearing, I am not wearing any knitwear, obviously, but I did make my dress. I should probably do a cutaway so you can see this dress, but this is my Lois Dress. It is by Tessuti Fabrics, and I think it was about my 3rd or 4th dress attempt. I messed up the zip, I remember that, and I did a different type of zip, and I've made this dress 3 times, and this is the first one, and it's the best fitting, the best looking. I have no idea what I did. I think I did it wrong and it worked, so since then I improved, and now I can't get it to fit. So yeah, let's just keep with this one. I love this dress. That is what I'm wearing. So let's get on to some works in progress. I will start with the most, well, they're all exciting, but to me, the most exciting. You're all exciting, darlings. But progress-wise, I'm actually just talking to my knitting now and apologising for calling one favourite. I'm most excited about it because I think it's going to fit, and I've got through the colour work. So, you may recall that I was talking about this sweater. This is the Into the Wild sweater by Tania Barley. Last year I tried to make one for my mum and it turned out all wrong. My gauge was off and that turned into mine. This year I've decided I'm going to try again, but I'm not going to use Plutolopi because even though I love Plutolopi, holding Plutolopi and 3 colours in a row and doing increases in rows with 3 colours was so stress-inducing last year. I couldn't do that to myself. Plus, it gave me an excuse to try out a yarn I really want to try, which is this Swedish yarn. I'm all entangled. I believe it's pronounced Ullcentrum. Ullcentrum. It's Swedish, so put a Swedish accent on that. It's beautiful. I've got this green, which I was so certain I'd remember the name of. I think it's forest green, but it's beautiful. So I've got this green and then a charcoaly black and a white, and then the reddy orange colour is actually the Hillersvåg Vidda. Oh, I'll try and write, I'll put everything down below or on the screen here. So I did a gauge swatch, and it suggested to me I would need to go up a size. So I was going to do, my mum has a 42-inch bust. I was going to go with a 40, I think it's 45 or 48. I was going to go with size 4. But when I did my gauge swatch, it suggested, you're going to have to go up a size. So I basically got very confused. I won't bore you again because if you've seen my last video, you know I blabbed on about it. But the gauge was a mess and I went up, instead of using size 4mm needles, I used 6 on my colour work because my gauge was so crazy. According to my calculations, it seems alright, but I'm finding it really difficult to actually count these stitches because at the moment it's really bubbly and weird. I know that it's going to block out, but my colour work always looks a bit of a mess, to be honest, until I block it and then it smooths out. So I'm finding it hard. The stitches are kind of eating into each other. I probably just keep trying to measure on rows that have increases and then I can't see it. But I tried it on my husband and it fits him and it's not tight, which suggests it could fit my mum. So this is looking good. Right, the yarn is trying to roll away from me. Let's shove you in my armpit. So, I have done neckline, Yeah, here it looks bubbly, but I know that it will block out because it always has. And now I am on to, I've gone back to 4mm needles. I am finding the fabric a little bit loose, but I seem to have that issue all the time. If I ever want to get a really tight knitted jumper, everything would be on 2mm needles. So I'm assuming when I block it, because it's a non superwash wool, it'll fluff up and fill in those gaps. I desperately hope that is the case for the back, because it's upside down. The short rows, you can really see where I have used. I actually went down to 5mm and then did the short rows, so there's purling, and it's so open and loose, it looks terrible. But yeah, blocking, I have all my hopes on blocking. Then I went down to a 4 and it's a lot neater. I thought this went quite fast-ish for me for colour work. Well, not fast. It went at a regular speed that I expected, and I was happy at how fast it went. But boy, oh boy, is the stockinette taking me so long. I am about 2.5 inches into the not the sleeve, under the armpit, and it's about 4 hours. 4 hours going round and round. It's gonna take me so long. I am so used to making cropped sweaters. My mum wants a proper full-length sweater, and then full-length arms, not cropped like bracelet length, actual full-length arms. So yeah, I'll be spending some sweet time with this baby, but at least it's gorgeous to look at, so yay. Very happy with the progress of this one. And yeah, that's all I'll say about it really, because I'll just keep updating, I guess, as we go along. So happy days. On the theme of my mother, I have another project for her. It's I was going to say it's a backup to this one, but that's not true, because I was going to make it anyway, but I wasn't sure if this would fit, so I started this one straight away because she did ask for it. And this is the Humlebi Shawl, and oh, dropping my shawl. I don't know what it is, but I can't get my head around the beginning of this shawl, and it's so easy. And I messed up my first one that I made for myself. See if I can put a picture. I made it and I somehow messed up the stitch count, even though I've got all of these stitch markers and I was counting them. The first time I did it, I was off by a stitch and my central column went sideways, and I had to do some yarn, like some surgery to it to get everything to realign, and I managed it. It looks a bit rubbish, but you can't see it, and only if you pick up the shawl and study it would you look. So it doesn't bother me, but I was aware of this for this shawl. So I cast it on and I regularly counted backwards and forwards, and the same thing almost happened. I caught it just before I made the mistake, but again my stitches were out of alignment and I don't understand. But anyway, I also cast on an extra 20 stitches because I thought that the gauge wasn't quite right and I'd need to make it bigger. And a lot of people have added these 10 extra, one set of 10 on this side and then one set of 10 on this side. And I did that, and then obviously the stitch count was different, and me and maths, me and numbers, we're not friends. Never have been, but I don't know how I just can't count. It's just simple counting. Nothing complicated, no grading, no changing anything, but I miscounted. And instead of doing the rows, whatever it was, let's just say repeat this set of rows 6 times, I did it like 12 times. So I've got this huge bottom section and it should be half this size. I got to the section where I thought I was starting the second, there's like a zigzag section. I'd already missed that, so now I'm doing it, but with the stitches for the B section. So when I get to the B section, I'm going to have to lose a couple of Bs, I think, because they're not going to fit in the stitch count that I have. And what's weird is that I counted each set here as like 10 stitches, and I separated it out, and I calculated it like 8 times in the evening. And then in the morning, I went straight in, started knitting my extra. I think I needed to do another 7 rows. I did not need to. I needed to stop at that point. So it's going to be a very thick bottom edge, but to be honest, I don't think my mum will notice because she hasn't got a reference point to look at it. It's a shawl, so it doesn't really matter because it's going to be a couple of stitches of more of knitting. How do I forget the word knitting? Then I've got the Bs, and then it's basically plain. I think it's, I can't remember now, but I think there's sections of garter and sections of stockinette. So I don't think it's going to be the end of the world, but it was so annoying. How did I do that twice? I messed up the same shawl twice, and it's not even a difficult shawl. I'm not even on the difficult stitch, which is the B section. I messed up on garter. But anyway, it's done. It's fine. So here's my shawl. I'm laughing at the amount I have because Nina finishes this in 3 days. This is about 5 days of work. I don't sit solidly for for the whole day knitting, but I feel like there should be more progress in 5 days. But anyway, it's fine. I'm about to start the B section in about 4 rows. So that's exciting, because then when I see the Bs, I'll feel excited that I can, and in my head I'll be nearly there, because all the stitches it decreases stitches as you go. So I've already cast on the amount it's going to be, and it's getting smaller from now on. So that's nice. Every row I'm getting closer. And usually I wouldn't be quite so, I've got to get everything finished fast, I need to get it done. But my mum is visiting on the 1st of October, and I still have my Maya sleeve to finish. I haven't done that. I figured this is going to be stockinette, that's going to be stockinette. The other thing I have here is stockinette. I figured having a little section of colourwork in between might be nice, rather than doing my colourwork sweater and then the colourwork sleeve and then only having stockinette. So I purposefully saved my Maya sleeve until I got to this stage. So maybe tomorrow or Monday, when I've had another few hours of plain stockinette, the Maya cardigan sleeve will come back out. But that is for my mum, this is for my mum, and that sweater is for my mum, all in 4 weeks. And I'm going on holiday for 1 week. So yeah, I need to get on it. I can't really do much of my own knitting until then. It's not the end of the world if I don't get it done. It's just, she'll be here in October, and I'm not sure that I'll be going to the UK at Christmas, because the idea of the stress of the C word, and because I went to the UK in July and I caught the C word, and I was in the house for like a week and a bit, and it was really rubbish. And if I go there for Christmas, I'll only be there for about 6 days. So if I do catch it again, or my husband catches it, and then like Christmas is kind of ruined. Whereas the last 2 years we've had Christmas over on the mobile, on not Zoom. Doesn't really matter, a video chat, and it was fine and no one got sick. So I'm not sure that I'll be able to bring anything to the UK. And the last year we had Brexit, yeah, that word, and my parcels got lost, and I didn't get the Christmas parcels for I think 6 months, 5 or 6 months until it got here. So the idea of posting, not sure, especially with all these hours of knitting time, putting all of this stuff in a box and then it just going into the abyss. yeah, I'm not sure about that. So that's why I'm trying to power through the knittings. Oh, the yarn I'm using for this is Drops. Oh gosh, it'll be here and below the screen. I can't remember. I basically bought a cheaper yarn. My mum wanted a porridge coloured Humlebi, and this was a good colour. And I bought a beautiful yarn for her sweater, but then after that I felt a bit bad, but I got her some cheaper yarn for the Humlebi. Because my mum loves buying or owning or having scarves, and not shawls, not like this kind of shawl, but if she goes on holiday she'll always come back with some kind of silk scarf or another scarf somewhere, but she never wears them. She goes on holiday to somewhere like Prague where it's cold, and she loves having this beautiful warm scarf, and then she goes back to the UK where it never gets that cold, so she doesn't wear it. And then when she goes on holiday again the next year to Prague, she'll be like, oh, I forgot my scarf, and then she'll get one. She doesn't buy, like, it sounds a bit like she's very extravagant buying expensive scarves and shawls from around the world, but it's not that extreme. She probably spends about £5 on a shawl. But I thought maybe if she has this one, then she'll actually wear it. Maybe out of guilt, knowing that someone knitted it and she knits, so she knows how much time it takes. But maybe it'll actually get worn, who knows. Otherwise, when I visit, I will wear it. So that is the beginnings of the Humlebi Shawl by Fibre Tales. Okay, and don't remember how far I got, but I don't think I got this far. I am knitting a vintage sweater from, enter another picture here. It is 1940s chevron sweater. I saw it first of all in the movie Home Fires, and then Retro Claude mentioned it, and that made me go, yes, I have that pattern, I need to make that pattern. Cue more drama with gauge to get vintage knitting gauge, but I always want to say I wung it. I winged it. I made it up, and I did all my calculations. Naturally, that was a load of hooey, and completely miscalculated everything as usual. So it's come out too small, but I don't know that for sure. It's just, it was supposed to be 36 inches, and I cut out two sections, two of the chevron sections, to make it so it would be more like a 34 inch, but it's come out like 30. But I'm hoping it'll be like a tight negative ease style sweater, because it does look like that in the pattern. I do have some, I've blocked it, it's just one panel, it's knitted in pieces, flat pieces, so there's some yarn in it. I took out the main offender. So here is the front part. Can I do some show and tell here? So this is the front, which I guess will come to about here. Then it will come along here, and then the back panel, obviously the back panel will be on the back, and then I insert some sleeves here. So this one is knitted in Drops Nord, because I was going mad trying to get a yarn that I could get the gauge, and then when I could almost get the gauge, it was so open and loose that I wasn't going to use it. I really, really would love to see an actual 1940s knitted garment in front of me to see what their kind of gauge, what it looked like, because the yarn is thinner than fingering weight, nowadays fingering weight. So our 4-ply, aka fingering, but they called it 3-ply, and it was thinner, but it wasn't as thin as lace weight. But they use needles that are Generally the patterns for vintage are about 3.75, 3.5 as the main part. Like ribbing obviously is smaller. And I don't understand how they get that gauge and how it doesn't look so airy and loose. So if any of you are vintage knitters, please do tell. Because I don't quite understand. If you buy a 4-ply yarn, it never says, like a fingering 4-ply yarn, generally it says to use 2.25, 2.5 millimeter needles. So if you buy lace weight, hopefully you know what I mean. Basically my gauge is weird, but I found that if I use a sport weight and 2.75 millimeter, 2.75 millimeter needles, the ribbing I did on 2.25 in the end. You can't really tell, but at the very bottom, oh gosh, Emily, come on, get yourself together. The bottom is ribbing. It was supposed to be much longer, but I gave up. It is still a decent length. It's, I think, 3 inches of ribbing instead of 5, which is fine. And then, yeah, 2.25, 2.75. And the moss stitch on the top, oh, it's so squishy and lovely. I am thinking a jumper in moss stitch is required. This is English moss stitch. I know that people say what some is seed stitch, some is moss stitch, and I think possibly in America it's seed and in England it's moss. I don't know, but the pattern says moss, so this is moss. And it's so delightful, and now I'm showing it the wrong way around. It's so delightful and squishy. So I have cast on for the back piece, and I've just started, that's the ribbing, and I've just started the chevron. And yes, I've just started about 5 stitches in. Then I realised I couldn't talk on the phone and focus on the pattern. So that's how far that got. I did this relatively fast because I focused on it, because I really enjoyed it. But now that I've got these knits that need to be done by this deadline, this has taken a bit of a backseat, which is unfortunate because I wanted it for autumn, but I don't think I'll manage because I've still got the sleeves to go, which essentially are the same, I imagine, but half the size. So maybe I'll get it done in October-ish time, but I won't hold my breath. But I'm still very excited for it because I am just hopeful that it will stretch. There are jumpers that are negative ease and they fit people, so this could be one of them. Otherwise I'll have to do some weird extra, like adding a knitted panel into the sides of it or something bizarre, but I'm excited for it. So yay! So I have another vintage knit that I talked about. I did say I wanted this to be finished for this podcast, but yeah, that didn't happen because, yeah, my mum's knits. The wool for those arrived, so I've been working on them. But I did finish one piece and I blocked it, so it looks bizarre when it's not attached. It's rather large, but that will be the neck. Then this is the sleeve, and it will be sewn here with the back piece, which is exactly the same. So it's not huge. It'll just be like a, yeah, larger. I can't actually fit because my chair's there. It ends there. So yeah, it didn't quite come out the size I expected. I'll try and put the picture here. It's a vintage pattern which I'm guesstimating is about 1960s, 1970s, but it's really hard to find because I can't see it doesn't have a date on it, copyright date or anything. It's very similar in style to the 1940s pattern that I have, or 2 patterns I've made before. They were black and white, and definitely from that 1940s, 50s. But this one, miscellaneous. It was given to me, the pattern was given to me by my mum's friend, and his mum had died and the patterns came from under her staircase. So he gave them to my mum, who knits, and she doesn't really knit vintage, so she gave them to me. So I can't link you to anywhere. The only one, I did mention it before, the sweater I just showed you, that one you can buy the pattern for, and a bunch of others on Etsy. That one is from Wool Time Fun. This one I can't direct you to, but there are so many patterns that are very, very similar to this on Etsy. And you can probably find others on Ravelry, and if you click on them, you'll get maybe the company or the pattern kind of name, and then you can find them online. I've seen them on eBay and Etsy, so they are around. So yeah, this is my enormous front panel. But I'm excited for it to be finished. I have cast it on, but I'm about 3 rows into the ribbing, so yeah, not much to show you. I'm using Onion Knits DK number 4. So it's an organic wool and nettle blend in the colour 808. And I'm going to put you in there. It's a really beautiful colour. I don't know how well it wears particularly. I have a pair of socks in the same, and it's a superwash yarn, but I put my pair of socks in the wash and they felted. And it was a cold wash, and it was, these socks were in a little laundry bag thing, like a delicates bag, in a cold wash, and yeah, they felted. I'm actually wearing them right now. They're like little sock booty things now. So these I definitely wash by hand in about, yeah, not even hot water, I'm too scared, like 20 degrees. And so far I've washed both of my other ones and this one, and they are fine. So don't wash your superwash onion knits yarn in the washing machine. Do it by hand. So that is what I'm doing with that one. I'm thinking I'll bring that one with me on holiday, because that is my phone, because that could be a nice knit. I'm going to leave the jumper, but I'm going to bring the shawl and possibly the other panel. Then I can zip that up and have that for autumn. So yeah, that is that one. I feel like I'm rushing through this, but I don't really need to say anything else about them. That is everything that I'm working on at the moment. I have my Maya shawl, Maya sweater sleeve that needs to be done still, and just to keep plugging away on these babies. Yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. I also wanted to say I got a pattern. I've got 2 patterns. I just watched Nervous Fiber's Instagram story, and she shared a picture of some beautiful jumpers. A dinosaur, I think it's Dino's on Holiday. It's a Christmas sweater pattern with dinosaurs. So yeah, I bought that like that immediately. She had the designer had 40% off if you buy it now till Tuesday, I think. Don't quote me on that. I'll link it below and put a picture here. It looks so sweet. Christmas jumpers, yes. Dinosaurs, yes. Dinosaur jumpers, yes. All in one, hells yes. So that is on the list. I have no idea when I will ever have time to knit all the things that I have planned, but it's going to happen. Like, it is. It has to. My next plan is to cast on my husband's sweater, because that has to be done for a deadline as well. That has to be done for December. I did think about doing it for our wedding anniversary, but that's in November, and I'm not sure I can be that fast. He is taller, much taller human being than me, with long orangutan arms, so yeah, don't know, we'll see. I've still got my mum's sweater to finish, and I'm already planning his first sweater, and then his second sweater, and then my Christmas sweater. Yeah, right. Anyway, I feel like I'm just gonna talk at you now, so I think I will wrap it up. Don't have anything like acquisition-y wise to show you. Technically I do, it's in the post, it's like right outside my door, but it's not exciting until there's context, and I can't give that to you until I print out the pattern and do all the things. So next time I will talk about that. So we'll just have a very short episode this time. I think it's short. Can't actually see how long I've been talking for on this screen. Stop talking, Emily! Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe if you want to watch any more. It really helps my channel. The algorithm is not a friend, it's quite a foe to me. So any likes, shares, subscriptions, notification bell pings would be marvellous. So thank you very much, and I will see you next time. Bye.